another completely very different, a very different technique than we have been using all along, which we've really been focusing on just using the brayer, stencils, textural stuff like that. But we haven't really gotten into using brush and paint, in a more painterly approach. And I think that's definitely something that I want to cover with you guys. And it doesn't mean that you have to be able to draw particularly well to be able to do this, because we'll be using photographs or other kinds of resources that you can easily use to make that happen. So I want to definitely do a demonstration on that. And then I also, of course, want to look at what you've been doing. And we had sort of set a little goal for ourselves of trying to, explore a particular way of working a couple of weeks in a row. And it doesn't mean you have to do that, but if you did do that, it'd be interesting to see, because, that is one of the next things to start doing once you've been doing this for a while and, you've kind of got the basics down, to pick a way of working and just explore it for a while. Try to, have a little bit of consistency in maybe the colors you use, or a theme, or, some topic, whatever. So that's kind of fun to do. So let's do that. Let's go right to our Padlet and just see what everybody's been up to lately. I know that a couple of us can't meet today. Mary is going to be a little bit late, and Kate is not going to be with us. So let's just go see. Hi, Ellen. I didn't say hi to you. I saw that you popped in. So nice to see you. And
hi, I'm not going to be able to stay the whole time, and I'm going to not have my video on because I'm rushing to go out.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So let's see.
Don't look at mine.
I'm looking for my painterly print one. Here, I'm gonna do it this way. There it goes. Okay. Don't look at yours, Katie?
Not yet. No, because
Okay.
I got to add some more.
Okay. All right. So let's start. Where should we start here? I think what we'll do is we'll start on the bottom and work our way up. How does that sound? Okay, Mary Ellen, it looks like you were the first to get your work up here. So we'll start down. And yeah, so tell us a little bit. It looks like you went back in.
So I started that one with the pale green in the background.
Yeah.
And I had put down the same shapes that are in the foreground.
Yep.
And it made all of that texture where I had too much paint on the plate, and it gave me the dendritic look.
Yeah.
So I printed that, and I also printed a ghost. And then I said, this is interesting, but let's do more.
Yes.
So then I painted up the magenta or the blue, one or the other, and put that down in different locations
Yes.
for the shapes. And then I did the next color in different locations, and I'm happy with how it came out. I think it looks great.
Mary Ellen, I think
Personally.
it's a huge leap forward for you. Not that, you haven't been doing wonderful work, but I feel like this
is great.
composition really works, and it's exciting. It has all of the elements, and it feels, very satisfying to look at. And you're going off the page. You're repeating your shapes in different places, and you've got this pop of a magenta color against the blue and the green, which I think really gives it a little bit of, a more of a punch, right? It's a contrast. So yeah, yay, really.
I love it. So the magenta was the last.
I'm not sure if the magenta was the last or the blue was the last. I can't really tell, and I don't remember.
Yeah, but meanwhile,
I think the magenta was the last.
Yeah.
And what were the shapes from? The shapes were just cutouts?
They're cutouts from Yupo paper. And because Yupo is plastic,
Oh.
the paint doesn't absorb into the plastic. So it just sits on top. And then you can put them down and print over the original base layer.
And that gave you the interesting texture too.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I had done that with paper, it would not look at anything like this
Right.
at all. Because the paper absorbs the paint.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, so,
I gotta try that. Thanks.
Yeah.
This is, it has a complexity, but a flow to it that's, and it's the colors too. It's the selection of colors too.
Yeah, those are my go-to colors these days.
yeah, yeah, well, good, good, you know, it's nice because you got dark, medium, light, you've got, a contrasting color to the two that are, analogous colors, which just means that they're close together on the color wheel, blue and green's right next to each other, but then you kind of go across the color wheel on the other side and you come out, kind of with, kind of reddish, some family in the red. And I think that is why this is very pleasing. Great.
Did you say you actually took the long strip and printed it? And you took it and placed it, I don't. wait,
So
you said-
the UPO paper, I believe what I did was put it down on the plate to put the paint onto it and then picked it up and put it onto the paper.
Oh.
I believe that's what I
you-
did.
You stamped the paper. With
Yes.
the sheet.
Oh, that makes
UPO.
sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Got it. Wow. So it acted like a stamp.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very
Wow.
good. Mariella, this is also
And it
really
was see
successful.
through, so you could place it over and see where it went.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
So this one started out as a roll-off sheet. My brayer again had too much ink on it.
yeah,
So I just rolled it off on a sheet of paper and set it aside. And then I decided I would use that.
yes,
And some of it has the texture of that woven material that I've been using,
right.
the gauzy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So again, with this one, I took and I inked up the magenta on the plate and then put them onto the paper and pressed them down and
Okay.
printed it.
Another stamp. This
Another
also,
stamping.
this
This is
also
beautiful.
really is so
love it.
successful, compositionally as well. Don't you guys agree?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's-
I
both of
love
these-
this.
Both of these are really, I think, just got that flow, Mary Ellen, of a design, that's really, really interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And you've even got, and you notice how, the light blue recedes into the background. So you've
Mhm.
also got, sort of
Yeah, like a
space
peekaboo.
made with a color, sort of, yeah. Great.
Some of the blue was stamped on afterwards, like the blue up in the left-hand corner.
Yeah,
I did that after, and then there's another, like a leaf shape down on the side that I did after. Because
that's
the
why this
spaces
is-
were blank, and
Yeah.
it was like, it needs something.
Exactly. That's great. I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I know now that it tells me that you're not afraid to go back in and do what you need to do. And that's like a wonderful, wonderful thing to hear. I'm really glad that you feel that way. And it also shows you that this is painting. Like I've been saying all along, this is painting,
Yeah.
and you're just not using a brush. That's the only
Right.
difference, right? Okay, let's move on. Oh, but this is also really interesting too,
Wait a
Mary
minute.
Ellen. We could just see this for a second too. You began this last week, isn't that right?
No,
No, okay, no.
I
Right.
began
Oh my
that this week.
goodness,
Yeah, But
wow.
that
So
also
the-
is super interesting.
That,
The black is all the shapes that were in the other two pieces.
Uh-huh,
And I had set them aside on the table and they kind of, melded in together and stuck together and everything. So
yeah,
then I just inked them up and put them on a different sheet of paper, but it didn't take so well.
yeah,
So I cut it out, put the black paint over it again and put it onto this sheet of paper. And the other ones with all the different shapes, they were again the roll-off sheets where I had too much paint on my brayer and rolled it
Yeah.
off. And the turquoise, the pale green, was
Yep.
kind of an afterthought, but I think that came out great because it gave all that lines and stuff. And I just cut it up and put it all together and there you go.
bravo. So this is a
Wow.
collage then, really, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, it's a collage.
Fabulous. So,
All of it is a
again,
collage. None of it is
Yeah.
printed on it.
Yeah, and I want to just reiterate that this design works so well. You are repeating your design. Some of it's going right off the page. So you're connecting with the outer edge. It's not floating in the middle. You have, repeated shapes, and you have lots of different kinds of, you have different weights of shapes, like you've got skinny, medium, and fat. So it's
Mhm.
just got all of the elements that make a really successful design. Very good.
I was happy with these.
Very happy, very happy. Yes, excellent. All right, good.
Very
Sarah,
good.
let's talk
Yeah.
about you here. So we have some really interesting things going on. Tell us what you're up to.
So these are two kind of separate projects.
Mm.
One is kind of a continuation of, what we had talked about, like doing kind of one shape repeating and stuff. So this is there's like sea urchin shapes that I do
Yeah.
a lot of.
Yeah.
And so this was I made a colograph,
Uh-huh.
and so this is a sort of a combination. It's like a colograph that acts like a stencil.
Mhm.
So it's those round pieces are different collagraphs. So I made texture on them. And
Can you
then, yeah, so
describe
these are
again,
repeated.
what is the
Sorry.
colograph? Can you say again what a colograph is so I can
A
understand?
colograph is you're making you're like making a plate by gluing different objects on, it could be anything. It could be a piece of cardboard and you're gluing different things on, or you're making texture with glue or with, medium or something. So it's
Sarah,
basically you're
yeah,
making a plate that you're then using to print in some way. And these are like colograph stencil ideas,
how did you
basically.
make the marks?
Is it like a stamp?
I'll show you. It's like I cut out a piece of substrate and then used carborundum and like, drew into it. I don't know where I put it though.
Yeah, show it to us, Sarah. That's really, so carborundum is one of these printmaking substances that's actually, from a rock. And it's ground very, very finely. People use it to grind down the surface of stones in lithography. But here, let me bring you up, Sarah, so people can see you. So you can show, let's see here, pin you. Okay, there you go. Oh, very, very cool. Look at those gorgeous things, and they really do have the feeling of sea urchins. Absolutely, it's the first thing I felt. I thought of it. I saw that. So just very delicate.
What is the
texture.
material? What is the material you're drawing into it?
I used a thick paper.
Oh,
And then I painted on, you can use anything. You could use puffy paint, like from Joann's Crafts, or you could use carborundum, which is like a fancier printmaking.
Hold it up again.
But it's anything that will make a texture. You could use Elmer's glue and paint
So
in.
how did you get- Sarah, how did you get the fine lines that make it look like a sea urchin? What
I just drew into it with, I don't know, stuff I had laying around the house,
Yeah,
Thanks.
you can take a pencil and just draw, well, it's
Yeah.
wet, you can do anything with that. The acrylic medium is great for that too. You don't really, acrylic molding paste or medium, anything like that, that will hold a texture. Gel medium will do that.
and you put it face down like a stamp on the jelly
Yeah.
plate?
Yeah. Well, so what's happening is that you're getting the texture. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. I mean, I would definitely encourage people to experiment with it, because the jelly plate is really nice because you're getting the imprint of the texture in the plate. So you can use that. And then you also have the actual, piece, like a stencil,
Yeah.
that you can also stamp or whatever. So it's a combination of all of those.
Yeah, you guys could totally do these. Yeah. So let's go back to, you know, what you were doing here, and talk a little bit about that, Sarah. So this is your next iteration.
Yeah, so it turned out looking more like flowers, which I didn't like. But I was trying to get just some line on top.
Mhm.
And so I don't like that they look like flowers.
Hmm.
That wasn't what I was
Look like
going for.
pumpkins.
Did you do a retrace line of, you know, one of the ways we learned how to make
Yeah.
you know, line tracing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, you ink up just everybody else. You roll paint onto another piece of, you know, whatever substance, and then turn your paper over and draw on the back of the paper, and it will pick up the
Oh,
ink.
yeah.
Remember that? And that's
Yes.
a really nice way to get you know, beautiful lines that instead of actually drawing right on, which you could also do, but you know, I think that it's more in keeping with the character of a print to use the retrace technique. Yeah, great. And then oh, yes, you have a series, and we have this, which you're using these beautiful color combinations.
Yeah, I think this one was this one and the yellow one that we looked at first, I think
Yeah.
are probably the two most successful.
Mhm.
And you know,
Yeah.
I like you know, I was trying to do something that I was thinking about like layers and water and kind of floating
Yes.
and you know, also trying to get the textural quality.
Exactly. And here you're using white on top so
Mhm.
that it's semi-opaque, which is the case with titanium white paint. And you can certainly, this might be a ghost.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's a great way to use it. Yeah. Super. And then finally we have this one.
Yeah, so this one I used actually some urchins that somebody gave me that are
Oh,
dried.
fun.
So I actually used those to make the prints on the you know, I pressed them into an inked plate.
Yes.
And I like it. And it had you know, it had a little bit of, because I'm terrible at cleaning my plate. So I had I like that little bit of green gold that's peeking through just
Yeah.
from
Oh yeah. Here,
leftover
right?
dirty plate.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I
Oh my
didn't-
goodness.
That's beautiful.
It is.
You know, that this one
beautiful.
is the simplest, right? Like this was just inks the plate and then
Yeah.
pressed the urchins on the
Wow.
plate and pulled it. And it was, I
It's
think it turned
done.
out
That's
well.
right.
So those, and you actually use the urchins themselves.
Yeah. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
like
Very cool.
Very cool.
I like it going off the side of the.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, up here,
Very
right? So you're still using those nice, you know, design elements, and large, medium, small, you know, stronger, medium, and fainter, you know, all those things where our eyes go to this one first, and then we see the repeating, but it's not exactly the same. So it's very satisfying in that way, you know, and of course the circles draw your eyes around the whole plate beautifully. It's interesting how, yeah, knowing when to stop, you know, is a learned thing, of course, but it feels complete because of, you know, the delicacy, and so cool that they actually use the real sea urchin to get that. Wow. There was another student I've had, and some of you might remember Amy, that she was using seaweed. to print
Seaweed,
with.
yeah.
And it was extraordinary, the kinds of textures she was getting, and also the shapes from good old dried out seaweed from the New England, you know, beaches. So, that's always a possibility. Thank you, Sarah, really. And yeah, this one also. I think you do minimal so beautifully. You know, that's
Yes.
really one thing that characterizes for me your work, where, you know, there's a quiet and you know, a sort of attention to the detail that really draws me in here. So
Yeah.
So do you guys think that this one's done? You wouldn't do anything more to it?
The blue one,
Oh,
definitely.
I love it. Absolutely. Oh, it says so much with such simple.
Simplicity.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
yeah.
Mm.
Great. All right.
Throw a mat on it, put it in a frame. It'll look beautiful.
So we don't have to talk. I mean, I would quickly love to get some feedback on these three landscapes.
Oh, yeah, well, we can do that, sure. I mean, I think we should check that out. This is in a way a little bit about what we're going to be doing today, a little.
So
a
these
little.
are, so these are big. This is like a full size, like print, you know, typical, whatever the typical size that a sheet comes in.
Yeah,
So what is
Wait.
that?
What do you mean, 22 by 30?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is I'm working on a commission for a friend. And so I've been working on sort of smaller versions of it. And the other one is a smaller version that's more colorful. And so she wants something, she liked that smaller one, and so I'm trying to make it bigger.
How did you print it? It looked, if it's that big, you didn't do it on a press, right?
No, I'm not using a press on any of this.
Is it
Yeah.
collage or is it printed on?
It's all I think I did a painting for this large one. I painted first. And then I collaged over top with all mono printed and painted pieces of paper.
Yeah, you can see that, yeah.
And then, did some drawing into it.
See it.
And so I'm trying to, I think what I'm struggling with is, the composition, trying to get, I think all of the little pieces, having a mix of sizes, of shapes,
Yeah,
and, to have it look cohesive, but still, it's going to be made up of these little bits and pieces of collage. And I'm also, because it's a commission, I'm working with her on what she wants. So it's sort of not really like typical of what I would do anymore. I used to do a lot of landscapes,
oh, yeah.
but
You should
I'm trying to like
look at the other one at the same time, the one that's even
I
more
can't
color.
look at the same time, but we can bring that one up too. This one, Mary Ellen,
Yeah.
this one? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the smaller one. This is like 10 by 12. And so she likes this one. I'm trying to, I don't particularly love this, but I'm trying to get some of the quality, like the quality of the trees.
Mhm.
I think this one's got too much going on in it.
Yeah.
Love this. I love
Yeah.
that there's so much.
I think it's beautiful.
I think the shapes are, whoops, where'd it go?
Oh, I'm just trying to look at this other one here while we're talking here. But
The
go ahead.
shapes are so interesting. Yeah, this is more simple. That's lovely too, but
Yeah.
I enjoy the small one.
Is
Yeah,
this
this
the small one?
For you, that you've like your simplistic style, but
Right,
yeah.
yeah. It's not really my usual.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well, that's kind of nice to be pushed out of your comfort zone too,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
always fun to make something for somebody,
Yeah.
So yeah, Sarah, I think it's really, very, very, very strong. And I love this idea. I think we can all learn from this, and that, this is your painting. I mean, this is painting, but you're using collage, you're using printmaking, it is a painting. And from my perspective, because you've got, well, it's, yeah, and yet it's, got some space happening with the colors, and the way you're using brush marks and the strokes and all that stuff is really, really super interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like a puzzle when you start to do these collages, right? Because you can try, I mean, it's a great way to create something, because you can put things in and then take it away if it doesn't work, or add things and take it back. It's really satisfying. But to make the sky, which otherwise is kind of can sometimes just be a swash of blue, into all these wonderful textural areas of various shades of blue is very interesting, I think.
Are you
And using the bubble wrap and the other, is it string that you use or thread to make the one on the right?
Yeah, like netting and bubble
Yeah.
wrap and just a bunch of stuff that I had around the house. I think some old knitting that I had done, you know, just anything.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I
Um,
think it also has its charm too. I mean, it feels like they're all interesting things in different ways.
Yeah.
Now, I know this wasn't your intention, but that one with the orange in it, I think is beautiful. It reminds me of clothes hanging on a line, blowing in the wind.
And it reminds me of, mountains and landscape, but I love that the blue and the white, it's like you're not exactly clear what it is, but the shapes are gorgeous. And Sarah, I just want to say you've really been working this week.
well, this is over the course of a couple weeks. This
Oh.
is not just this week.
Well,
Yeah.
but you've
Nice.
been working.
I have a question. I'm curious. So I can't imagine working a commission and from this and then adapting it to the bigger one that you have that I really like a lot. And you said that you were working with her for what she liked. Like, what did she want? What did she say that she wanted that got you to adapt this one to the other one?
Well, we're working from, this is like a going from a view of a landscape of her family's house in Vermont where I've been. So I took a bunch of pictures when I was visiting there and sort of working off a couple different photographs as inspiration for the landscape. And then, you know, she showed me a couple collages that she had liked. Yeah, so she wants something very like piecey, like to see the pieces in the collage. And I think generally I kind of work a little bit more like you don't necessarily see all the pieces, you know, like
Yeah.
I like it a little flat, like more integrated, like
Right.
a little bit
Yeah.
more traditional printmaker like collage, I guess.
Yes, like
Um,
the one, like the big one that you're working on.
Yeah. So yeah, and just the colors, you know, like she had certain colors that she really liked. So that like light ultramarine blue and the green gold she really likes. And so she wants me to do less of that darker green. So I'm gonna do some more, I think, you know, working with like Adria, the color stuff. So I'm gonna take the green gold and add in a little bit of, you know, Payne's gray, add in a little bit of carbon black and just start doing a bunch of monoprints to get papers to make the trees. And she wants like a little tiny bit of red, a little more. So, you know, I'm just playing with it and
Yeah, the joys of working on a commission. I know it's a little, but I just want to point out before we move on that, you know, also seeing these from a little bit of a distance, like we do when they're small, helps us to also read how you're using color and, you know, how the things far away are lighter in value and go back in space. The things that are closer to us are brighter and also tend to be darker and more contrasty. So it's really, you know, very beautiful composition you got going, and we'd love to see when you're done. So, okay, let's
well,
move
thank
on.
you
'Cause
guys. I appreciate the feedback. It was really helpful.
It's
Beautiful.
I love seeing what you're doing with the collage because it's something that I want to do, and how, you know, this one, the big one, it's really almost like cut in half a little bit with the detail of the mountains separating it, but it works.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of fascinated. So it's really encouraging for me to see what you've done.
I think the one with
I
the orange.
really love doing the collage with the monoprinted
Oh my God, I
papers,
think,
you know,
yeah,
it's a really fun way to do
it's a
it.
great way to go, Sarah. You know, and I would definitely encourage you to keep going on that direction. And working this big is also super, you know, for you to stretch yourself and keep
Sarah,
going.
the one.
Okay,
the one
let's look at, let's see, Katie has a bunch up right now. Let's move over
Okay.
there. Katie, and I know we were going to talk really quickly about, you know, matting or mounting our work.
Yeah. Well, I figured this out. This is my first one, and I have a lot up there, but I just want to show the progression of what I've done.
Yeah.
This is one that I did on cloth.
Yep.
And I've kind of developed it, and it's something that I'm going to submit to an exhibit with the group up in Rockport, at the Rockport Experimental Group. And, you know, I'm kind of happy with it. You had suggested adding like stitching, and I did that. I'm kind of, you know, it's kind of, you know, my thought behind this is hope amidst horror, you
Mhm.
know. So that's, I
Yeah,
just wanted to show that.
And I
I
also
felt
love,
complete. And
I love that we're able to see this printed on fabric too, Katie, because you can see how effective it is. It does make it a little bit more challenging to, you know, frame it or mount it, but not insurmountable.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, I've played around with printing on paper, and I want to do more of it.
Yeah,
I've gotten some different fabrics, like this
Yeah.
was that tea towel white thing, but I have some more, like muslin and white that's actually, it's better, I think. You know, I like, it almost gives it a folkloric, you know, feel to it with the
it
wrinkles.
does.
But I had to figure out a way to frame it kind of quickly. So I basically took a board, stapled it, and I will put this in like a wood square frame, and it won't
Great.
have glass on it. So
Yeah.
I just needed to come up with it kind of quickly, and I
Yeah.
had it.
That's good. I mean, there's a lot of different ways people do it, and I'm sure that you found a really good way, Katie.
I mean,
yeah,
the
let's
cloth, you could also stretch it on a canvas, like
Stretching
make a
it.
little.
This, I had to stretch it around it needed to be stretched.
yeah.
But you're right, I could have stretched it around a canvas and just figured out a way to fold the edges.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, ways you can do it, and also you could you know, use, well, whatever, you know,
Well,
a mat on, you know, a mat
Yes.
to cover some of the edges.
Yeah. I think that would have looked good. And I
Ooh.
actually thought of gluing it too, the way you would shoulder it, but it had all the bumps underneath.
No gluing, not on
No.
that. I don't think
No.
so.
Yeah, I don't think gluing either.
No.
This
is
beautiful.
But yeah, let's talk about this because
Okay.
this is kind of your series, right, Katie?
This is my series. This
yeah.
is what I wanted to show you. I did a lot with it because I really wanted to do, like you said, a studio practice around this. So,
Yeah.
you know, I took the time and cut out this one thing, and I played around with it.
Wonderful.
So I just assume we just go through them all.
Yeah,
just
sure. Well,
see.
this is very exciting to see because you know, I really see so much growth.
Black and white, yeah,
Black and white, yeah. Mhm.
you know.
Is that on fabric too, or is that
no,
on paper?
No, that's on paper. I didn't do that great a job of cropping.
And
it.
that was one of your original
Yeah, the
ones.
black
It's
and white,
also
that
so
was like, yeah.
really stunning, very stunning in
Yeah,
black and
just
white.
the
Yeah.
basic black and white.
Yeah.
And
So this is a different black and white than the one you did before, right?
yeah, it is. It is. The other one I did and I rolled over it, and it was bigger and it had the rolling effects around it. This was the actual print that I did, you know, with black, put the cutout over it and just really, you know.
Katie, I have a question. Did you
Yeah.
draw the trees and then cut them out? I mean, did you make the stencil?
Yes, I made the stencil.
Yeah,
made-
it
I
has
made
a
the
lot-
stencil.
has a lot of life in it. It's
Mhm.
so much better than when we
No.
used.
I just wanted, there's something about that. I like the idea of like looking through the trees,
Yeah.
having something, you know, and I came up with a couple of different ones that I played around with, the birds and the church spire with the window, the weather vane at the top. But I thought this would be kind of versatile and I could do a lot of different things with it and play
Yeah.
around with it. So I
Yes.
just played around with all different kinds of layers, painting, you know, some of them I stamped, I painted it on the back of this and rolled it out, and then I used with paint on it, turned it over and stamped it on top of something.
I really love the, the variation of the black marks and
Yeah.
how that,
Yeah.
it just looks so it almost looks like a charcoal drawing, it's that
Yeah.
texture and that variation is just really, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot of them I thought, oh, this doesn't work, but then I just kept going and going, and as a whole thing, it's kind of interesting, and then there's another one of this one that's just a lighter printing up, yeah, like this one
This
here.
one here? This
No, the one below it,
Oh.
below it,
Okay, sorry.
no, the one below that one. That one right there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Whoops. I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yes, Katie.
See, so
Now
it's
this-
a different
Yeah.
effect.
Beautiful.
you know?
Yeah, I'm so pleased to see you really working with this, in all the different ways. This
Yeah.
is the studio
Yeah.
practice. This is that
Yeah.
pushing it in all these different directions. And
That's what I wanted to do. And
wonderful.
I actually learned a lot. So we can go on just so you can see all the different ones. 'cause
Yeah, wonderful. So, you got one.
Oh,
Wait.
so
This is
this
yours
is-
too.
this is interesting. So this one, that one right there, the first, the bigger one. Yeah. So click on that.
Okay.
Now this one, I wasn't that crazy about it. I had this paper that's kind of shiny, and I did a print like of the flower on it. And then I figured I'm just going to do a print of this trees, and I put it down, and so all the black came through, and the way that the paint sat on it, like I could just scratch stuff. I just scratched out like rolling hills or a little bit more. And then I'd kind of took that circle where you see the black and it's like a moon over on the left.
Mhm.
I wiped off the paint underneath
Mhm.
it. So it had that effect. And then I just scraped and did circles, and then I'd brayer over it, like I could scrape the black off.
Mhm.
And anyways, it was just kind of fun. And then,
Yeah.
it's kind of nothing. It was just an experiment. And then the next one over, I started cropping it.
Oh,
That one.
I love it.
Isn't that interesting? Like there
Yeah.
Yeah.
were some that I did that I didn't show you all of them. I did another one with this, and it kind of looked messy. And then I started going in and just cropping it. And I'm
There
like,
you go.
interesting.
Very good, Katie.
So,
That's wonderful. And it
yeah.
is stronger. It is stronger in this one.
Yeah, because
you're
the other one
absolutely
was
right.
too messy, but I just kind of like scraped in circles, and it was just
Yeah.
kind of fun. It was like
Fabulous.
adding and subtracting.
That's
How did you get the texture in the orange? Yeah.
That is a stamp. What I did is it was kind of like this pinky shiny had paper that I got at the dollar store, but it had almost like a plasticky finish. And then I printed one of those, big flower stencil that I've done a lot with, in orange. So that's underneath there. And then I took the tree stencil on top and rolled over the whole thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the orange came through, but then I went over with a brayer to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you making your stencils out of that you keep repeating?
This is what I've done. I gotta get some good plastic to do this with, but what I do is I take them, I print it out on paper, I get it what I want, I covered it with the big clear packing tape, like contact paper would have been better. But I covered it with that on both sides,
Oh, that's
and
good.
then I cut it out. So it
Okay.
would last, because I did it once, I had it on the table, I spilled some water on it, and it just kind of deteriorated. So I did it over again so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
You can
it
also
gives you-
use cardboard from a cereal box and just put matte medium over it.
Right, exactly.
And it does the same. You can get a good repeatable stencil out of it.
Really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
yeah,
better?
matte medium will, keep your paper really for ever. Well, you know, not forever, but it makes.
Like a light cardboard, like a poster board
A
type.
cereal board, a cereal box, you know, any one of those cardboard boxes would do.
I've been, those, the thicker it is, the more of a line you get around. So what I've also been using is plastic envelopes that I get from Amazon, you know, not the bubble, it's the clear plastic, and it cuts really easily. And it, because it's plastic, you can just keep reusing.
Right.
Yeah,
Any of
I
that
like-
stuff is great, absolutely.
it's nice
Katie,
to
you
have
know,
a clear thing, like vellum or something like that.
Yes, vellum or, right, Duralar, but I just want to say that I really am so pleased to see this, and I love how you've been, you know, staying consistent with the same theme and trying out the different ones. And I think that, you know, I'm especially drawn to the ones that have a little bit of, this becomes very mysterious, you know?
Yeah,
And it also
yeah.
has a feeling of movement because it isn't all flat. So there's a lot to
Yeah.
be said for, you know, some of the accidental qualities that happen just because of the printing process that really add the content to it. So, you know, really congratulations and bravo. You know, everybody's just knocking it out of the park. It's so
Can I show
exciting to
you? And
see.
I'd also like to show you something else that I did. I'm sorry, Tika, but you
All right.
see up at the top
See the bird.
with the birds. Oh, that one right there. You know what that is?
What?
Remember the Van Gogh book that I
Yeah.
bought?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I put the stencil over
yeah.
Starry, Starry Night,
Yeah.
just right over and just printed it.
Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yep.
Isn't that kind of cool? But I
Yeah.
want to show you the birds over there. Yeah. So I've been wanting to include my pastels somehow.
Yeah.
So
ah,
I did the print over some, I painted some paper with, you know, it's had these blues in it. And then I did a print of these birds that I had stencils of. And then I painted over it in that with the fine pumice gel. So that, and it takes the pastels because it has grit in it.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I just kind of played around with it. I did a number, this is just a sample, but looking to add pastels. I've experimented in a couple of different things of adding
Yeah.
pastels.
That's Very cool idea, using
Yeah.
it for the pastels to adhere. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really,
Okay, so that's it.
Okay, thanks, Katie. So Mary, and you have a lot to show us too.
not really.
Okay, well,
I've
where
been,
do you want to start?
I'm just getting my chair, hold on. I guess, so I'm feeling kind of stuck. I feel like I've done a lot of experimenting with,
Mm.
and kind of like repeating, you know, the wheel or whatever the
Mhm.
expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I did some face things. I just
Uh-huh.
wanted faces. So there's 3 faces, the black one.
I kind of
there's-
drawn to this one myself.
Oh
mm,
my God.
Oh, we relate. We relate to this. I mean, I
Wow.
think what I'm drawn to about this is that it is abstract, and then you look closely and you do see the face, but you don't have to see the face. And you know, it's both a little
can you
humorous,
not?
but also it has a really, you know, interesting quality to it. That's just kind of hovering on that
Yeah.
realist, not, you know, abstract border.
Yeah, you know, I did that and I thought, you know, I don't want to add anything to this.
Yeah.
Oh,
except-
no, please don't.
But I really couldn't evaluate like what to think of it. And I had to put I painted those eyes in with a
Oh.
stencil
Yeah.
because I wanted like really bright color. And I tried working on Yupo and I didn't get smooth color. I had trouble with it. It didn't give me what I thought it would, Adria. So maybe you
Mhm.
have tips about working on it. But yeah, we can go to another one.
Okay, you said this is Yupo?
No, it's
No, no,
not.
okay.
The one I did on Yupo, I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
And so the black one is, I printed on wrapping paper from Amazon. So it's just brown wrapping paper. And and then I had a substrate I was just working with stencils with letters. I was just, experimenting with textures and seeing what it would give.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh. Oh, but
Yeah,
it's on brown paper?
On paper, there's so many wrinkles.
Mhm,
Love it.
mhm. Yeah, I mean,
Wow. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
So this is an interesting kind of a background to play
Like
with,
a
and
almost
you
iconic
know,
little-
right? You're continuing this sort of, but you know, Mary, let me say that I have to say that the works that you were doing last week here, you know,
Yeah.
were so really you, because I know you now, and we've worked together for a while, and I feel like this is, to me, kind of where you live, and
Yeah.
so I would just say, you know, encouraging you beyond, you know, just this
Mhm.
class as printmaking, that I want to see you keep working with this kind of imagery.
Yeah,
I think
I
this
think-
is where you live. Yeah, yeah. It's very successful. It's very strong. It feels very fresh, and you know, it's got a lot of really positive things going for it. Whereas this is interesting, but I mean, I feel like you're just shifting gears again, and you don't need to shift your gears.
Okay. Okay.
You've been experimenting. You know, you're ready to make a full-fledged fall into this and do, you know,
And
keep,
do,
because
yeah.
there's so much richness here. You know, you could take, you know, you could do hugely big on this, you could go small on this, but you know, this is a vocabulary, and this is worth keeping going.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
what I want
thank
to say.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful statement, and I agree. This is like,
This is just, yeah, this has so much just wonderfulness going for it. And I feel like, as I said, I feel like I know you well enough to know that this is your vocabulary.
Right.
I think I'm going to use the word finally, you know, you finally maybe acceded to it, given into it. But
Mhm.
yeah, this is, you know, I don't know that you need to do anything other than just keep playing with this vocabulary for a while. Yeah.
And I couldn't quite get this with printmaking, could I?
It's
Like that.
fine. Well, yes, you
That's the
could, but
beauty.
you know, the thing is, as we've always been saying, you know, you don't want to take the hard way to get what, you know, comes so well in, you know, one or the other. Like
Yeah.
you could, you know, even start prints with maybe putting down a yellow or some of these other shapes that could be easily jelly plate. But if you don't
What
need jelly plate, don't use jelly plate. You know, it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is, if doing jelly plate these last couple of months has gotten you here, then it served its purpose.
Yes,
know?
yes, yes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
maybe it's that way for all of us. And you got
Exactly.
there. You got there.
You got there through
You
it.
got there.
Yeah.
Now, instead of feeling like now you got to keep doing other jelly prints to,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, because you're in this class. It just
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
this class
You
for
know,
you to get there. you
I
know?
think I'm hoping that when I leave Florida, that when I continue doing this, that there will be the same life in it, because there's something about the light where I'm working. I mean,
Yeah.
it is so bright in this
Yeah.
bedroom studio that I know the colors I choose, I'm responding to the light.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
what will happen when I
Well,
get
but
up?
you know, the thing is too, that Mary, you have a vocabulary, and I think independent of color, you have a vocabulary of shapes
Yes.
and mark making. And you
Right.
should be able to translate this to black, white, and gray. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything, you know, though it's really fun to see these colors, but you could also translate it, and it will also be a challenge for you. Should you feel, you know, bored of the same colors, then flip into a different color combination. But this is a vocabulary, and you're
Yeah.
using the whole page beautifully. And these shapes, you know, this is a composition that really holds together. So, you know, we'll work together, and I'll make sure you stick on there.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
continue on this, you know, path. And this is what we all have to do. We have to
Okay.
pick a path and just lay there for a while and see what it teaches us.
Right. Okay.
And you're
Well,
doing it.
Thank
So.
you.
I usually don't come on that strong, but
Oh.
Yeah.
but I feel
But
pretty
You,
adamant.
you nailed
You're
it.
doing
You
it here.
nailed it.
Here it is,
Yeah.
black, white, and gray. You know, there's
Yeah.
really nothing different. I mean, different color, but it's a
Mhm.
vocabulary. Good. Okay, anybody else I should yell at today?
I didn't feel like you were yelling at me. I
Okay.
felt like you were
I'm
encouraging.
kidding.
me.
I'm kidding.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah, anybody, Ellen, did you send anything email wise or no? Yes?
I didn't.
Okay, all right.
Sarah,
Wait,
Sarah,
everybody.
Adria,
Yeah.
Adria, we give you permission to come on strong.
Yes,
Okay.
please,
It's good-
direct,
It's very
direct-
helpful. Even though I
direct
haven't
and
done
honest.
anything,
I'll
it's
be
very helpful.
slapping you, Mary. Just like-
Adria, you're coming into your own as a teacher. You know,
I
you're
mean,
really
it's like-
Oh, yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm
Give
like,
it
been
to
doing
us
2 years of
straight.
this on Zoom, and I'm like, I'm over it, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
give
a
it to
good
us straight.
All right, so that's great. But this is wonderful and it's time. And a lot of you that I've been working with together, you know, Mary Ellen too, you too, stay that pace, you know. Whatever frame of mind you were in for, you know, these very successful pieces you're all doing now, stay with that, you know. It really
A
feels
frame of
like
mind.
everybody's really finding, you know, and I think maybe honing in on the composition is a really good thing. You know, some of you watched the video that I sent last week. We didn't see it in class, but my watching it again, I was, you know, the one with the cut paper. Did you guys?
I didn't watch that. I
Okay.
missed.
I
Say it
didn't
again.
watch that.
What was it? Just give me context again.
It was, I did a whole bunch of cut, you know, cut paper work with just playing around with a
During class? During class?
No, I sent it afterwards. Remember, we all said it was too much to have in that class.
Yeah, I think I watched it, but honestly, I think
Well, then good. Whatever we've been saying in class has been working, though you don't really need to watch it. That's good.
you know, but I do, one thing about like the direction, I still feel like I'm finding what that thing is.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not surprised, and you will be finding it over and over and over again. But the idea is to stay with something for a while and explore it. And it's organic, and it's like it is like an evolution. It really is like evolution. Like, so what, you know, you start from like a single cell, and then a single cell goes to 2 cells, 3 cells, you get an amoeba grows here, you know, it is really like that. So it's not like jumping from this to that, like, you know, Mary just showed us, but it's like evolving. So, you know, for example, Mary Ellen, you started with your cut shapes. I would encourage you to keep going that direction. Great. And take those colored shapes and make just collages out of them. You know, you guys have got a lot of the basics going. Let them flower. You know, you don't need to try it all now. You've had a lot of time to play with this and that and this and that. Stay with a course for a while and see what happens with it. Of course, now I'm going to show you a completely different thing. That I throw you off, but it is a technique we haven't really talked about, and I feel like I want to show you this because it can be, you know, really really fun to try this as well. So I'm going to do a live demo right now of a process. Well, actually, I don't need to do this. Yeah, I do. Yeah, do I need to do this? Yeah. No, I don't. No, I don't. Sorry. Hold on. I'm just forgetting. Yeah, I do this. Yeah, I'm gonna look right down. So I'm going to pin myself to the screen so you all can see me. All right, everybody has a good view of my my plate here. So what I wanted to do is talk about using Jelly Plate as a painting vehicle. So literally, like, you know, painting on it with brushes. We talked a little bit about it, but we haven't really focused on it. So I want to show you that this is also a really interesting thing to play with. I've had a couple of students occasionally who are plein air painters. And they really do use the Jelly Plate to do plein air painting. They'll take it outside with them. They'll do a painting right in front of a scene, and they'll make a print from it. And it's a really fun thing to do as well. And so I thought that I would also show you that what you can do is, take a painting you've done or take an image from a photograph that you've taken or something like that. This is just from the web, and I'm going to use this as a painting guide. So I'm just literally putting it underneath my jelly. This is the other wonderful thing, because they're transparent. You can see imagery through it, and then you can really use that to guide you. So you could take a sketch if you really liked a certain sketch, or even a collage, or whatever you have, and line it up with your plate and use it as a guide. So that's
You have to have a clean jelly plate.
cleanish. This isn't that clean, but I mean, I can see through it. That's all you really need, just be able to see through it.
How does it not stick to the paper? Oh, I guess it doesn't matter.
How does it what?
Not
Right.
stick to paper, but I think.
Doesn't matter, because well, I might want to just tape this on the edge of here, because it may slip around a little bit. So I'll just take some blue tape, and but you can just put anything under there to guide you. So let me just quickly get my tape, and then I'm going to start painting, and I'll show you how you can really, and this is why it's so akin to painting, this process. By the way, before we even get there, let me just do this here. Share my screen really quickly, because if you've never seen the Degas monotypes, just to show you how people have, used these since day one, a long time ago. This is a monotype. Degas was, he was using, probably, they didn't have plexi, right? It was probably a piece of zinc, which is what they often used. But he put, black paint or black ink on the whole thing and just used a rag to wipe away. And so this was a really quick way for him to make almost sketches of paintings. So monotype has been known about, from at least the 1880s and probably before. But it has a long history of painterly approach. So, the fact that we're doing it this way is just, as just one of many, many different approaches to your painting. Did you people know about these
Yes.
these things? Yeah. So
No, I didn't. I
yeah.
haven't.
So it's a
Yeah.
really great thing to look through, all these different other people that I can think of. Well, Degas, I actually saw a whole bunch of his really quick
Wow.
these were at the show at the MFA a bunch of years ago. They were all done in brothels, and they were really quickly done. I mean, that's where you would find models, right? Nude models, and great people who are willing to do this for you. I mean, it's sort of a dark, a little seedy, episode in, but anyway, just to say that that's really fun to see these painterly approaches with the monotypes. So going back to what I was going to do. All right, so here we have a landscape. I do have to do it upside down for you, but right side for me, otherwise I'll get all confused. So forgive me, but I'll pull it, I will change it. So here we have, I have the colors, I have, kind of a composition that I can use, and I can also change it as I work, but let me just show you how you might start here. So this way, what you could do is just put together a little palette of color, of sort of colors that I might possibly use. And I've got a color called chromium green here that is quite opaque, as you can see. Chromium is a pigment that is chromium oxide, excuse me, is from the earth. And so it tends to be more opaque than maybe a lot of our other usual colors that we're here. And then a little bit of magenta, because that's how I'm going to make my brown. And put that over on the on the palette. Yeah, so working with the palette is something, we haven't really done really much of it in here. So explicitly, and a little bit of ultramarine blue. And maybe some black, and I can do that as well. So I'm just going to sort of play with these colors here, these few colors, and just see what we can do with them. So I've got a range of paint, rather a range of different sizes of brushes. So, I've got this one, I've got a sort of second smaller one, and then I've got a really small one. And, when many of you have done painting, and that, brush strokes really, and this is the beauty of this kind of work, will really rely on how you use your paint and the brush strokes, and, also how much paint you get on here. So let's see what happens here. So I think what I'm going to do, interesting. I can see right away that I will have a tough time putting blue behind this, unless I start with a pretty thin roll up of blue. So I might actually start that way, because otherwise I'll have to paint in some of these areas of blue with a brush. I mean, that is something that I could try and do, but I think it will actually be easier if I have a very light blue behind everything. Here I am going to use my roller. So let me just put a little bit of this blue here in the background, and it'll be so light that I'll still be able to see through it enough. So I'm just kind of talking through how I would approach this. So we'll try doing that. So as you can see, I can still see a lot through it, but in the big areas, I can actually start with my roller and just put the roller away. And again, what a wonderful thing to have this paint that is going to stay wet long enough for me to, really get it going here. So then, the next thing that I might want to do is put in this second value of blue here. So in this case, I'm using a thicker brush, and I might just sort of lay in, and of course we all know this is not the best way for little tiny details. So I'm approaching this with a broad brush, so to speak, broadly looking at the development of this painting, not worrying about all the little tiny details. And then I'm going to then brush in some of this foreground, which I think is like a yellow and a green mixed together. So, over here, I'm going to mix up, some of this color that I see here, and I'm painterly about it. In other words, it's that the brush strokes, it's, kind of like a free, loosey-goosey approach, using some of this darker, more opaque, and then maybe blending it with a little bit of the blue so that I can get that going over here. And then finally, we have the tree. So the tree looks to me like we need a little bit of black in it, actually a little bit of magenta. And yeah.
And we can't see you mixing the colors. If you
Oh,
could-
I know. I'm having trouble with getting it all here. Let me just move this.
If you push it a little,
There we go.
yeah,
You can see that? Okay, there we go.
yeah, thank
All
you.
right, so now what I'm going to do is mix my little bit of my magenta with my green to give me a brown. So we know that opposites on the color wheel give us neutrals, and a brown is simply, red and green together, blue and orange together, something like that. And, I can always add a little bit of black to it if I want. And so, we've got this tree here. And then, you might want to, it's right up at the end, up to the edge of this composition. I'm not sure that I love that so much, but I'm just going to kind of painting in here and maybe take my small brush and change the size of my brush here to give me some of a little bit of extra. It's funny because I can't not be able to see very well because of the glare out here, but we'll see what we get. Oh, yeah, it'll be interesting. And then you know what? I like this idea of another tree over here. So I'm just going to put it there. I'm just going to do another tree on this side because I feel like it's a little empty and maybe start.
You're
my tree.
sounding very Bob Ross, Adria.
I know, I feel like I'm channeling Bob Ross here. God help me. Oh,
Happy little
God.
tree.
Ay, ay, ay. Oh my God, I used to make such fun of him and it's so funny to see him so beloved now. Ay, ay, ay.
Really funny.
I just couldn't stand him. Anyway, all right, so there we go, done. And now I'm gonna take a print of this and see what we have. And I'm gonna get my sheet of paper. Okay, so I have no idea how this is going to come out, but we'll try. We'll see what we got. But this is the beauty of these open acrylics, that they, stay wet long enough to literally do, something like this. If you wanted to just, get more, making sure that you're really getting up all that you can, you could just take your brayer on the back of it. And let's see what we have. Oh my. Wow. All right. Well, there you go. So not bad. But yeah, you get a freshness of the stroke here. And you could get into, more color, more detail. But I think, that gives you an idea of the kind of thing you can do. You could put animals under here. You could, conceivably put a portrait under here, work from a photograph or something like that. The deal is to, be careful not to get too picky, to be careful not to kind of go into, super detail, because it's not going to show and it may dry if you take too much time. But, what I'm appreciating about this now that I look at it is the freshness of the marks. And so, it's got a painterly look to it. And this kind of mark you can't get in painting, actually. It's very hard to get like a transparent mark that that shows the brushes like this. So you guys have any questions about it? What do you think?
Looks like fun.
It is, yeah, it's fun.
Sort of like, it's like paint by numbers.
Well, I don't know about
It
that,
is.
but it is a way to do, some representational work without, feeling like you're stuck if you can't draw something. So you can, and also there's nothing wrong with using photos as a resource. It's nothing wrong at all. People do it all the time. So it is a quick way to, get an image that you have in your mind without having to struggle so much, or going out someplace, you don't really, if you don't want to go out and do something plein air, you could take a plein air piece that you already did in watercolor, put it underneath your plate and use that as a place to begin. So
Interesting.
yeah, and it's just a different, kind of an approach that, and also the idea that you can use brushes mixed in with your brayer, and the beauty of the brush mark just in itself that we haven't talked about is also something that's open. And now, Mary, actually, I can see you doing, working in that same abstract way with your brush strokes, too. And that would be a way that you could get some of those things that you've gotten in the painting. That would certainly be something you could try, or not. But,
In the monotype?
yeah, in the monotype. But again, it's back to that same question. What is the most efficacious way for you to get what you want? Like, it may not be easy to do this. It may be, so why do it? If it doesn't flow, then don't do it in monotype, do it in painting. And do, and then after you've been painting for a while in your kind of this new, where this means, you may come back to monoprinting and say, oh, I know what I can do. That would be interesting to try in monotype.
Right.
But you don't have to force yourself to fit it the mold just because you're taking a class. No. Oh no.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So would you use this and print over it? Or would it be just something that would stand on its own or?
Stand on its own, could print over it. Yeah, it really depends on where you're going with it, what you like to do. I think there's a real freshness and life to these, real quick and down and dirty things. I love that, and I think there's definitely a place for that. This is really very, very quickly done, but you could be out in nature and paint something in front of you. And if you did it quickly enough, like within 15 minutes, I think you could print it and have a really wonderful fresh look, like almost like a watercolor approach, that quality that watercolor has, because you can't work over it. It's a great way to do little sketches.
Did you water down the acrylic? No,
Never, never. I would not add water to any of this. No, you don't need to.
it looked
just a
like,
brushstroke.
but swishing the thing around and you,
No, no,
Water it.
it was just what you see. So, yeah. So what I'd love to do is to have you kind of work on this, if you'd like to. And if you don't, go back to, continue to work on what you like to work on. But I'd love to, watch you do this if you need some help, and just kind of try it out. Again, print out something from the web, just to give you the basis and go from there. Or just play with your brush strokes, just not even do it from something, but just have fun painting with a brush on the jelly plate and see what that gives you, because that's going to give you, some very different effects.
Yeah.
That might
Here,
be really.
Adria, can I share something
please,
really
yeah.
quickly
Sure,
that
sure.
I use the brush stroke? I don't know if I
Yeah.
can share my screen.
Let's see. Yep, you should be able to share it. You have permission.
I'm trying to figure it out. I
Well,
don't know.
at the bottom with the share screen.
Yeah, I click that and then it goes to
Sarah, you
different
could just hold it
preferences.
up.
Yeah,
Physical or not?
I mean, I can show you. I just have an image of it on my desktop. That's
Oh,
easy, but yeah, let me see. Let's see. Can you guys see that very well?
Oh,
Not very
yeah.
well.
Getting glary.
Not very well. Anyway, I don't know. I'll email it to you maybe, but
Yes, yeah, email it to me and I can-
it was one of the first ones that I did that I used brush strokes, and it came out, it's abstract, and it came out like very unexpected, and I really liked the.
Sarah, send it to me and I'll show it. Or put
Okay.
it on a Padlet. Put it on a
Okay.
Padlet. Yeah.
Oh, well,
I'd
no,
like
I'm
to
not
see it.
gonna
You
do
did, we couldn't, so, and it was abstract. So we could
Yeah.
do this, we could do it abstract.
Absolutely. Abstract
Yeah.
from nature, from a photograph, but just to have a sense of what happens when you do play with it in a very painterly way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, send it to me, Sarah, and I'll show it later.
Okay.
All right, so let's play for a little while, like a half an hour, and then come back, at around 12:45 to kind of regroup, and then we can see Sarah's piece and see what happens. So I'm going to mute everybody, but again, if you have any questions, and again too, if you want me to see how you're working, if there's anything I can do in terms of troubleshooting a technique, we can share the screen as you're working, and that would really help me to help you. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'll, thanks, Sarah.
Adria, by any chance, could you put it on the screen now because I have
Yes.
to leave?
I'm going to do that right now. Yes, here it is. So here's Sarah's piece. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing it. There you go. So yeah, great. It looks, yeah. And so Sarah used white here, I think. Sarah, is that right? I muted her anyway, but yeah, and some nice brush stroke. So yeah, you can do almost anything, but it is really fun to play with brushes on this, and it would definitely encourage you guys to see what happens with the brushes.
Hey, thanks, Adria. I'm
Sure.
gonna try to do a little work
Okay.
in the future. It's Maddie. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Maddie. All right. So we'll see you next week for our last class.
Okay, great.
Whew.
Bye-bye.
Hard to believe. We've got about 5 more minutes or so on these, and then we'd love to have you put them up on Padlet and take a look, or just email them to me. So a little bit longer. Okay, everybody. Let's come together before we end today and just take a look at what this was like, or at least let me get a sense from you of how this technique felt. And go ahead and unmute yourself so we can hear all your thoughts. Okay, so do we have people put them up on Padlet, or do we have
Yep.
Yeah,
Put
Padlet.
mine up- I put mine up on Padlet.
Great, thank you, guys. All right,
Did too.
let's just go see what we did here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about how this process felt. So let's see what we came up with. Okay. Oh my, look at this. What fun. This is great, everybody. Yeah. So we have lots of fresh, marks here, and super. So let's see, this is Katie. What did you think? How did it
Yep,
feel to work this way?
That's the ghost of the second one over from that.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh my
and,
goodness. How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think I could have fun with this. I mean, I just did this really quick.
Yeah,
Just, I had my Van Gogh book here
Yep.
and I put it over one of
yes,
these images that's kind of, uniquely his, but it had
exactly.
basically shapes. And what I did is I have a small roller and I
Yeah,
just rolled out the like 3 basic background shapes
Yep.
of the sky and the earth and the road. And then went into each with brushes and,
Yeah.
did the tree and just so it's kind of an interesting effect, very loose and quick. And I
very
like,
loose.
yeah.
Yeah, very successful, Katie. Good for you. And
And I think, and honestly, I could paint over this with my pumice. I could, not necessarily this
Oh,
one,
yeah.
but I could do something like this and paint over with my pumice and
Yeah.
do
Do
it with
pastel on
pastel,
top of
over
it.
with pastels.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Very
right.
lightly.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, super. So I don't want to take a whole long time, but I do want to just chat about everybody's, stuff. And so Sarah, this is yours, huh? Let's see, did this one come first? Should we do
Yeah,
this as a first? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a ghost print.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
fun.
That's that same, so I just took the photograph of the landscape that
Yeah.
you guys saw I've been working on,
Mhm.
and then painted over. The bottom is mostly using a palette knife. And then
Yes.
the sky was mostly brush strokes. Yeah, it was really fun.
Couldn't hear
Yes.
you. What did you say? It got broken up.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit, Sarah. What did you say the last there?
I said it was really fun.
But-
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yeah, no, it does. And I'm, what's great to know is that, even with a palette knife, the paint doesn't splooch all over the place, so you
Yeah,
really
I like it.
build up some surfaces. And I almost like this better, and I don't want to say that in any kind of a negative way, but seeing the brush strokes like this, I really enjoy a lot, and I think that even the ghost is very strong with a lot of movement.
Yeah, I went back in and added more stuff, like more paint before pulling it. So just like a little bit of highlight kind of, 'cause
Sarah,
a lot
what
of the
did
paint got taken away.
Yes.
Sarah, what do you think of it?
I mean, they're just little sketches, they're fun. I mean, they took me like 2 minutes.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah,
that's
they're
why it's such a great way to capture plein air, because you can be
Yeah.
out there really quickly and just get it down, the whole basics of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, this was actually like the first way that I had done mono printing
Uh-huh.
in
Oh,
college. And I
Yeah,
haven't done this way really in a long time. It was fun. I
it's
like
very
it.
fun. Great, yeah. Super. Let's see, Mary Ellen, we have some of yours here. Oh, very good. So how, yeah,
On the left is the photo and on the right is the, and on
Yeah.
this one here, I have a lot of hashy brush marks for
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
And I did monochrome because why mix paint?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all right, but I like the other one better.
Oh, let's see that one. Yeah, it's this one here. Uh-huh. Yeah,
And in the center is the photo, obviously.
great.
On
Yep.
the right is the initial one, and on the left is the ghost. And I think I like the ghost.
Yeah, I really like the
Yeah.
ghost.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and Mary Ellen, you could have also rolled up just a background, as you see here,
Mm.
even the green, and
Yeah.
then just painted on top of that too, which would give it a little bit more sort of connection to the edges.
Mhm.
But you know, this could be a beginning. This could be
Yeah.
a beginning for a print, or it could be continued doing painting, or however you wanted to do it. You know, but it's just nice to know that this is another option for everybody. You know, that this is out there to do. Let's see, what else do we have here? Anybody else? Mary, do you have anything you want to put up there?
I do. I have 3, but I'm slow. So I'm
Okay.
just updating them now.
Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, the point of this is that it's an option. It's another one to think about. It's another one that's out there for you. And, you know, it's just another part of the repertoire that you can dip into when you feel the need to. Yeah, I like to have it as an option, and I sometimes forget about it, but it's, oh yeah, Mary, great. Oh yeah, so there you go, in Florida, a Floridian one right there.
Oh, nice.
I love it.
I love
Wait,
it.
Well magazine, and it just happened to turn up on
Oh,
a page.
funny.
Yeah.
But look at the freshness of that, you know? It and a lot of times these have everything that you might need for a longer, you know, painting, and there it is. It's just there, and it has its sense of immediacy and speed.
I must say that I loved doing it. I love the feel of painting of the jelly,
Yeah,
the gold on the jelly plane. It feels like painting with oil,
yeah,
which I can't do.
right.
And yeah. it's
Yeah.
just- Here, there's another one I'm uploading. It's
Okay,
coming now.
great.
And I have the ghost of that one, but I'll do that later. All right, public subject. Huh, it's not letting me publish. Come on, you guys.
Or maybe because I'm on it, I don't know.
Oh, I wonder.
No, that shouldn't be the case, but
Let me go back in.
well, but at any rate, you know, you get the general idea that, I mean, I'd love to see you do some plein air down there, Mary, if you have a chance, you know, just go
I-
for it out your window.
Yeah, I was
Well, there you go.
Katie, I'm thinking when I visit, we could do some outside together.
Oh, let's do that.
Yeah,
That would be,
Get
yeah.
on it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, good. So this almost has a watercolor feel, Mary.
I know.
Yeah, very nice.
I was trying to do, so actually I had a painted background and then I wanted to see what it would do to print
That's a
on
great
top.
idea. It's a great idea. So absolutely. And it does give you, you know, the brush stroke has a different feeling than it does on a canvas or on a piece of paper. You know, the strokes, you really see them, and the beauty of this in each individual, you know, stroke is there. So
Luscious, it's really luscious.
Yeah.
And I feel like by what everyone else did, like it feels so much more
it
spontaneous.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm so glad that that we did this today. Let's see. What I wanted to say was, oh yeah, yesterday in this the workshop that I did with Monotype down in Western Mass, a woman had brought in watercolors. You know, watercolors in tubes, and she spent the whole time doing the jelly plate with watercolor, and didn't even try the open acrylics. It was really interesting, but she got some very nice things, you know, along the lines of these, because the watercolor paper, the watercolor stays wet because it's so thick down there. And then she would spray with water and then, print it just like this. So
Huh, wow.
yeah, that was kind of another interesting thing. Well, great, everybody. So this was super fun to see. So, for next week, it's our last class, at least for a while. And I need to take a little break from teaching. I'm kind of overdoing it.
Mm.
Not that I don't love you all, but just
Yeah.
other kinds of things are coming up. But if you get to, please come see my show. And May, if you're in the Boston
yeah.
area, I'd love to see you there at one point or another. I'm doing a golden workshop, free, one of those free lecture demos
Yeah.
on the 14th. So you can come down to the gallery, go down, see my show, and then the lecture demo is downstairs in their building. So if you have any interest in doing that,
So it's an in-person one?
yeah, in-person one.
In Weston,
Oh.
right?
Newton.
Oh, it's in Newton.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at the art center?
No, in the gallery, downstairs
Oh,
from the gallery.
okay.
Yeah. It's a,
Yeah.
like, they have 2 floors. So the limit is of 15 people only. So we're going to try and keep, some kind of social
And
distancing.
It's on the 15th,
It's the 14th,
14th of
14th.
April,
May.
May.
Yeah.
May.
I'll let you guys know as we get closer, but
Yeah,
just to
that'd be
say
fun.
that.
That sounds
But at any rate, for next week, it's kind of it'll be our roundup, so please do continue to work on whatever appeals to you. I'd love to see you guys keep going with, the work that you had started last week as kind of a follow through. But if you also would like to show anything that you've been doing along the lines of what we did today, which is the, more painterly approach using paintbrushes, would love to see that as well. So let's end up next week with just kind of seeing what everybody does, spending a little bit longer with the looking and talking, but hopefully I'll be able to introduce one more thing to you in a class and have us still work. So
Great.
Yeah, and everybody, there's a possibility I may not be there next week because my car is being picked up on Saturday. So I'll be in the throes of packing, but I will do my best to come.
okay, well, I hope so, Mary, and yeah, stay the course, and I want to see a whole bunch of your paintings. Okay, whether it's monoprint or not, I don't care.
I love it.
great. That's great.
Take
Okay,
care.
see you all next time.
Thank
Thank you.
See
I'll
you
see
later. Bye, everyone.